The psychological profile of Macbeth. Macbeth is one of Shakespeare's most intricate and tragic characters, a man whose psychological journey takes him from celebrated hero to despised tyrant. His inner world is a labyrinth of ambition, guilt, paranoia, and fatalism. In this video, we'll delve deeply into his mind, exploring how these elements shape his character and lead to his ultimate downfall. 1. The duality of Macbeth. At the heart of Macbeth's character is his duality. He begins the play as a celebrated war hero, someone King Duncan calls valiant cousin, worthy gentleman. His loyalty and bravery are unquestioned. Yet beneath this noble exterior lies a latent ambition, an ambition that he himself does not fully recognize until the witch's prophecy awakens it. This duality creates constant tension within him. On the surface, he performs as the loyal subject, but internally, he is already grappling with dangerous and disruptive desires. This conflict is the essence of his tragedy. Macbeth is a man divided against himself, loyal yet treacherous, courageous yet fearful. 2. The role of ambition. Ambition is both Macbeth's greatest strength and his most destructive flaw. From the moment the witches hail him as future king, his thoughts begin to spiral. At first, he tries to suppress them, questioning whether fate will take its course without his interference. He says, "If chance will have me king, why, chance may crown me without my stir." But this fatalism is fleeting. The idea of power grows in his mind, fueled by his imagination. He envisions himself seizing the throne, and though he recognizes the dangers of his vaulting ambition, he cannot resist it. This self-awareness makes him unique among Shakespeare's tragic heroes. Macbeth knows that his desires are dangerous and that his actions will lead to ruin, but he is unable, or unwilling, to stop himself. 3. Dependence on external validation. A striking aspect of Macbeth's psychology is his dependence on others for validation and direction. Lady Macbeth, in particular, plays a pivotal role in shaping his decisions. When he wavers in his resolve to murder Duncan, it is Lady Macbeth who spurs him into action. She accuses him of cowardice, questioning his manhood in one of the most famous lines of the play, "When you durst do it, then you were a man." Macbeth's response to her is telling. He doesn't defend himself with conviction but rather allows her manipulation to guide him. This dependence extends to the witches. Their prophecies provide him with a framework for his ambition, and he clings to their words even as they lead him astray. Macbeth's need for external reassurance reveals a deep insecurity beneath his ambition, a lack of confidence in his own decisions that ultimately makes him vulnerable to manipulation. 4. The burden of guilt. One of the defining features of Macbeth's character is his profound capacity for guilt. After murdering Duncan, he immediately expresses regret, saying, "This is a sorry sight," as he stares at his blood-stained hands. These hands become a recurring symbol of his guilt, representing the crime he can never wash away. He laments, "Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand?" The answer is no. Macbeth's guilt manifests not just in his words but in his hallucinations. The dagger of the mind he sees before the murder symbolizes his internal conflict, and later, Banquo's ghost becomes a haunting reminder of his crimes. These visions are more than signs of madness, they are Macbeth's conscience, forcing him to confront the moral weight of his actions. Unlike Lady Macbeth, whose guilt destroys her quickly, Macbeth learns to suppress his remorse over time, but it never fully disappears. Instead, it transforms into paranoia and drives his increasingly erratic behavior. 5. Paranoia and isolation. As Macbeth gains power, his guilt gives way to paranoia. He becomes obsessed with protecting his throne, seeing threats everywhere. The witch's prophecy about Banquo's descendants inheriting the throne gnaws at him, leading him to order Banquo's murder and the killing of Fleance. But this act of violence does not bring peace. Instead, it deepens his paranoia. Banquo's ghost appears to him at a banquet, a hallucination that no one else can see. His public outburst isolates him further, as even his allies begin to question his stability. By the end of the play, Macbeth is a solitary figure. Lady Macbeth, once his partner in ambition, has succumbed to guilt, leaving him to face the consequences of their actions alone. His paranoia isolates him emotionally, politically, and spiritually, cutting him off from any source of redemption. 6. Overconfidence and the supernatural. While guilt and paranoia plague Macbeth, his overconfidence becomes another fatal flaw. His belief in the witch's prophecies gives him a false sense of security. They tell him that no man born of woman can harm him and that he will not be defeated until Birnam Wood comes to Dunsinane. These cryptic assurances embolden him, leading him to dismiss real threats and act recklessly. Even as his enemies gather, he clings to the idea of his charmed life. However, when the prophecies unravel, when he learns that Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped and that the advancing army uses Birnam Wood as camouflage, his overconfidence turns to despair. His trust in the supernatural reveals a fundamental flaw in his thinking, an inability to distinguish between reality and illusion. This reliance on external forces blinds him to his own agency and makes his downfall inevitable. 7. Identity as a warrior. Throughout the play, Macbeth clings to his identity as a warrior. It is the one constant in his life, providing him with purpose and meaning. Even in his final moments, when defeat is certain, he refuses to surrender, declaring, "I will not yield," to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet. His warrior ethos demands that he face his enemies head-on, and he chooses to die fighting rather than live in disgrace. This defiance, while noble in some respects, is also tragic. It shows that even as he confronts death, Macbeth is unable to transcend the values that led to his downfall. His identity as a soldier gives him strength, but it also traps him in a cycle of violence and pride. 8. Fatalism and tragic acceptance. By the end of the play, Macbeth has fully embraced fatalism. He acknowledges the inevitability of his downfall, saying, "I have lived long enough." Yet he refuses to surrender. His final act is one of defiance, as he challenges Macduff with the words, "Lay on, Macduff." This acceptance of his fate, paired with his determination to face it on his own terms, captures the essence of his tragedy. Macbeth is a man who understands the consequences of his actions but is unable to escape them. His story is not just one of ambition but of the human capacity to wrestle with guilt, identity, and fate in the face of overwhelming odds. Macbeth is more than a villain or a tragic hero, he is a reflection of the complexities of human ambition and morality. His psychological journey is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked desire and the heavy burden of conscience. In the end, Macbeth's tragedy is not just that he falls, but that he understands, every step of the way, the price he must pay.